Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Fortnite video. I know these are the most popular videos on my channel, so that's why I'm uploading another one. And we're about to do Storm Shield Defense number 10, and at the time of recording this is pretty much the highest challenge in the entire game of Fortnite Save the World. It's the highest level Storm Shield Defense you can do in the highest level zone. And yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome. And since right now we've got the War Games event going on, I've actually been testing out on my Storm Shield defense overall quite a bit. However, the War Games defenses are a lot different than the actual Storm Shield defense. It's like in terms of spawn rates and also variety of enemies, because in Storm Shield defenses, you get pretty much a few mob types that spawn super heavily on certain waves. Like you'll get a smasher wave or a smasher and propane wave, or some waves will have zero lobbers and some waves will go crazy with lobbers. Whereas with war games, you pretty much have a mixture of all enemies spawning at a kind of low rate on every single defense. So the way I have my storm shield built out right now, all of the bases are able to handle basically a small amount of lobbers, a small amount of propanes, a small amount of smashers, but they're not designed for specific waves, which is what you would historically do for Storm Shield 10 especially, because you know, like certain amps you need a lobber screen, certain amps need to be able to handle a ton of smashers, and certain ones do not. But yeah, mine's I guess built to work without that knowledge ahead of time, which is probably good. And the other reason I'm running this finally is this coming week, they've announced they're going to be adding the so-called SSD endurance mode, which no one really has any actual info about beyond the name, but speculation is basically it'll be some kind of endless mode or pseudo endless, where you basically just have wave after wave and you just keep on going until they destroy one of your amplifiers or whatever. And for something like that, I'm guessing they won't have predictable waves. So doing this kind of jack of all trades build on every amplifier, I think, is the way to go. And yeah, Wargames doesn't really stress test the amplifier and trap tunnel builds very well, because like I said, it has low spawn rates. But it is super valuable just for kind of debugging the husk pathing. And like what I've been doing pretty much is a lot of the tunnels where I'm not entirely confident on how well they work, I'll just remove a lot of the damage traps earlier on, so we get husks walking farther and farther through it, just to kind of test it for to simulate kind of a worst case scenario. Yeah, so that was a really quick wave, and we got G. So actually, yeah, this kind of confirms what I. Oh no, it's amp C. Hang on. So I've been told that currently, as of the last patch, they actually kind of broke the Storm Shield order, intentionally or not, I don't know. No one ever does. But now it might finally actually be random waves for the Storm Shield Defense 10, where it used to be entirely predictable, like always 100% the same thing for Storm Shield 10. But we'll see. Yeah, but overall, war games have been great, and what I've been pretty much focusing on, like overall, is trying to make it fully AFKable, and without even having to place down my constructor base, which is this thing that reinforces and heals structures. And the main problem we have is lobbers. These guys, their AI has changed a lot, especially since the update near the end of Fortnite. They're much more aggressive, and they'll basically, let me just kill this guy real quick. Oops, completely messed up. Alright, well that's fine. This is fine. And you might remember previously we had takers on this wave as well, and I'd set up defenders here to help keep me safe. And there's currently a kind of unfortunate bug that's actually been in war games for quite a while. I think maybe since launch, or at least since the first wave, like the first week or two, where I'm gonna try and place down defender real quick before I get taken out. Where defenders basically will eat your weapons and ammo. So whenever this ends, this defender won't give me back this weapon, and also won't give me back the ammo. She'll just basically eat it. And so I'm just putting down one defender with this weapon that's already at very low durability, so I don't really care if she keeps it, throws it away, whatever. Not a big loss. Jeez, these guys do some serious damage. So we've got level 140 mobs coming in. And the war games till now have always been level, I think, 121 mobs, which doesn't sound like a huge difference, but really it is pretty huge. And after doing this last Storm Shield defense, I think they'll be 128, but still. Oh yeah, and here we can see respawning at main spawn point here. You can see there's some floating traps here, and this is some glitch that's in the game, and I don't actually know what causes it. I've seen people posting about it. I don't know how you fix it or how you prevent it or how you do it intentionally or what. I literally just put traps here to protect my friend and then decided I didn't care about him, so I destroyed the traps and they stayed here. And they're actually still functional, which is kind of interesting. If you lure a mob up here, the gas trap will go off and kill them. But as I was saying before I got rudely murdered by those takers, which will probably happen again, it's basically just yeah, dealing with robbers is a lot harder than it used to be. Because the way it used to work essentially is that their main interest, or basically almost their only interest, was just destroying stuff directly on the amplifier, which was like the objective that they're trying to reach. And they have a certain range that they can throw their projectiles from. And if you basically just built this lobber screen over the spawn point, they wouldn't be able to find a line of sight to throw from. And so they would just keep walking forward through the trap tunnels, trying to get to like here, where they obviously do have a line of sight to throw. And that's changed. Now they're much more, I guess, proactive. And if they don't have a line of sight, they'll just back up and start trying to create some line of sight. Like you can see, these ones pretty much just spawn and either stay there or go backwards even, and start trying to break through the actual trap tunnels and structures, basically to help out the other husks, help out the smashers, help out flingers, to give them a place to throw from. And yeah, it's basically kind of a nightmare. So what I've been doing is just running these war games over and over again, hoping to get on specific amps to get attacked, and trying to basically counter the lobber and flinger behavior, which is pretty confusing and not super logical a lot of the times, as far as I can tell. Oh, defender got taken out. Let's save anybody. Okay. Alright, so coming up here, amplifier I for me, this is the so-called devil amp, getting attacked from, what is that, the east? Yeah. Okay. So historically, this is the smasher and propane wave, I believe, and this is also one of the toughest amplifiers to build for and defend against, because it can get attacked from 3 different sides, unlike most of the other ones later on in the game. And so we've basically got 2 tunnels here, this one upper one dropping down off a cliff, and then another one on the other side of this natural obstacle here, but I'm going to back away from here. And actually I should put down my base somewhere. I don't really know where the best place is, but maybe like here. Let's see what we got coming in here. No smashers or proteins that I can see yet. There's a smasher. Another smasher. Okay, so maybe the waves are set. I'm not sure. I think I hear a propane bouncing around. Here we go, smasher making charging noises. So I'm gonna actually back up, back here. And yeah, as you can see, pretty much the stuff up here is more traditional trap tunnels with just gas traps and whatnot. And another smasher making smashing noises. You'll love to hear it. And as they get closer to the amplifier, which should be only the smashers and other really high hit point husks, these maximum impact and knockback floor launchers will just send them up into the air and hopefully kill them from fall damage. I don't really know why that smasher is trying to break through that pointless wall up there, but what can you do? And yep. And as you can see, there's no actual walls built around the amplifier itself, just because smashers will charge them. But the kind of downside to this is that since they have no walls to smash down here, they seem to be more likely to just charge random walls like that, as you can see. So realistically, it might make sense to just put a few walls down here to kind of lure them with with some walls. Which smashers, if you know, whenever they can basically see a wall at the bottom of the wall, if that makes any sense, they'll try and charge it like so, and they'll just kind of one-shot it and basically run right through it unless it's tier 3 metal. And smashers will only do that on walls, and also almost every type of wall except for, I believe, if you edit it like that. Since the wall is technically not touching the ground except on this like infinitesimally small point, they won't charge. They shouldn't charge this. They can still like melee it, but they shouldn't initiate their smasher charge on it. But yeah, this luckily it's a kill wave, so it's going pretty quickly. And this is the amplifier that I've been having the most trouble with. Just killing the enemies in general is not a problem. The real problem is the loggers yet again. So as you can see, like over to the west is what this is probably the #1 most problematic one. We have this ridiculously large lobber screen, which this is the latest iteration. It's actually double layers here because for whatever reason, sometimes the spawns will blow up this lower layer even though it's not touching the ground, and the upper layer is a little bit too high, which means they're willing to try and basically lob through it from the bottom, which normally they won't do. So yeah, we'll test out this double layer one soon, hopefully. Hopefully it actually works. And this is kind of a tough place to build because there's this lava bomb that hits here and blows up your builds. So we've got a lobber screen over top of it, but it's slightly less effective because, again, they prefer to lob from out in the open, but they'll also prefer to lob from under a really tall ceiling than from under a really short round ceiling. And it's more Smasher boys just doing the Smasher things. And Miss Monsters themselves, including Smashers, can't damage the objective, so that's why we're kind of just letting them roam around here, and eventually they'll get killed by these 4 launchers. And as you can see, this is the one wall remaining. I'll put down, I guess, another one is just to demonstrate that it charge it. I'm pretty sure that is the only type they won't charge. They might charge I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, these level 140 Smashers have a really high impact immunity, or counter, whatever it's called. Basically means that they have to get hit by multiple of these launchers before they'll actually be affected by them. But pretty good, pretty successful. 5D. On the south, that's a little bit unfortunate because the eastern wave is built with a sort of bouncy Pit of Doom build, which is really fun to watch, but that's okay. I go over there and place my base down, so everything is going swimmingly so far. And probably another thought that I was started to explain and then just forgot halfway through. Oh crap, I just realized. I think a lot of these traps are still actually missing because I took them out to test the later parts of the trap tunnels again, so that could be a slight problem. And in war games, okay, we got propanes, and I hear flingers, which is a little bit of a problem. And here's an example of building to counter the Lobber Flinger AI. For whatever reason, the flingers really like to path through these sort of the small trap tunnels that don't kill everything, and they stand right here and lob over this mountain at the amplifier. And that's why there's just this one damage trap right here, kind of seemingly randomly, because they just love to stand here and fling. And this perfectly counters that. Then we have a super convenient way of getting back up if we still got around. I'm just going to stand up on this mountain and see what's going on. So yeah, as you can see, there's literally just these are just random husky husks making it through the initial trap tunnels, which is not ideal, but that's basically just because I removed the gas traps from those tunnels, or at least some of the gas traps. And wow, look at that lobber sniping through that corner. Or that's funny. I'm just going to take this guy out manually because he's going to cause some problems, undoubtedly. Am I not hitting him? Do I need to hit him? Trades. Switches. Overall, though, I would say, yeah, what I've learned from board games is everything is pretty easy, and really the huge challenge is just making it truly AFKable, because if you don't make it completely lobber-proof and flinger-proof, you can AFK to an extent. You'll just have basically a failure rate of like 10 or 20% basically. Whenever there's a heavy flinger or lobber wave, it'll just pretty much completely destroy your build unless you're manually taking them out. So here we have the flinger, and this guy's actually behaving a little bit differently. He's not standing on his specific flinger launcher. Oh, there we go. So everything's going according to plan. Outstanding. And this amp seems to consistently have at least a few flinger trashes landing here. So there's some launchers on the actual amplifier. It's not a naked build like some of the other ones. We've got another flinger somewhere. I don't want to be shooting through walls with my infrared sniper because propanes don't want to hit one and blow everything up. That would not be optimal for obvious reasons. And trying to say this for the third time now, I believe. the other reason I'm doing Storm Shield Defense 10 finally is that the endurance mode or endless mode or whatever they're gonna call it, I believe it's required for you to complete Storm Shield Defense 10. I'm not sure if it will only be an event or mode in Twine Peaks, or if you can just do it in any of the 4 zones after completing the 10th Storm Shield Defense. I'm not sure. Guess we'll find that out later this week. And the idea with the floor launcher is for killing them with fall damage, by the way, if you aren't familiar with that meta or whatever you want to call it. As far as I know, I don't know if it was discovered during Fortnite or if it just sort of became popularized then, but it's just a method for killing extremely high hit point mobs, basically. Because fall damage doesn't deal a flat amount of damage, it does a percentage of your health, which kind of makes sense because otherwise, like, if the player had like however many, I have 298,000 health, so if I went down to Stonewood, which is the lowest zone, and it was flat fall damage, I could just like jump off a skyscraper and take like 1% of my damage, which would be kind of ridiculous. So that's why fall damage is done as a percentage of your total health. So rather than running a level 1 million smasher through like a million gas traps, you can just have them take full damage 2 or 3 times for a guaranteed kill. And it will end up taking, like I said, multiple floor launchers actually launch them, but still pretty strategic. Looks like the Lobber and Flinger Griffin's generally working pretty effectively on this wave. This is a fun one. This is another amp that I've actually removed kind of the front line of gas traps and damage traps. So we should see more making it through to the entertaining kind of part of the build. Where do I put the space? I'll be back here. And from helping other people with their Storm Shield defenses, this was another Smasher wave. Again, I don't know if that's going to be the case this time as well. Let's see through the walls here. We do have lobbers. Don't like to see that. Oh yeah, and we do have smashers. Alright, and this guy might be broken. It's still got hard to tell through the wall. And so here we have them basically all channeling up, walking up this hill, and it's damage traps up until they get to the crest of the hill, and then they cascade down here through a pathway lined with more floor launchers. And then this idea down here is just idea I got from David Dean. He just actually kind of did it a little bit incorrectly, so it didn't really work, but these are just smasher bait. Essentially, hoping the smashers will, if they make it down here, they'll try and rush these walls and barrel straight through into the lava, which will sometimes kill them, and sometimes they'll just sort of be trapped there indefinitely, taking up the mob cap, which is kind of good either way. And the reason for these floors here is, to my understanding at least, smashers, their like requirements for charging is they need to see the bottom part of a wall, and there needs to be some flat land on the other side of the wall. So they're not going to charge a wall if there's nothing directly behind it. So that's what they're listening to those. And we got our first smasher coming all the way down. What's up, buddy? He's gonna get taken out with fall damage before I can test out the dummy walls. It's okay. And this is another fire wave, which is actually, gotta love seeing those guys flying. Fire waves are pretty much the toughest waves, at least for storm shields, because the majority of damage traps are either physical or nature, which are both weak to fire. Anyways. So this guy's made it over the crest of the hill with still about half of his health, it looks like. Pretty impressive. Actually, I can't see his health. So Smasher's just doing Smasher things, attacking this kind of random wall that really doesn't seem super strategic. But Smashers are Smashers. And behind that wall is just a cliff face, so there's really no reason for him to be attacking this. It's not obstructing his path to the amplifier or any of the other mobs' path to the amplifier. But good job, buddy. We got another Smasher. That animation with the stars circling around his head means that he's stunned by the wall lights. Man, this guy again, they just really don't like this wall. Maybe I'll put down another wall here to kind of tempt them to try to dummy walls. I want him to go on buddies. Buddies. Yeah, they'll charge the wall. Standing. Hopefully they'll charge the next one too. Before the floor launcher goes in. Buddy, charge the wall. I think he's gonna get launched by an Explorer launcher. Unfortunate. Wow, this guy has made it down here with a ton of health. And he will get killed by the next Explorer launcher if he keeps wandering around like a moron instead of smashing the decoy walls. We all shall fall. Just love watching these guys go flying. Alright, so now we have water enemies. This is basically the easiest case scenario, because water enemies take full damage from nature traps, and they are not strong against metal, so problem solved. Put them in base before I forget about it. For this side, I don't know what to even say about this side. I think I built this side and it just worked the first time, because I don't think I've ever made any changes to it. So I guess it just did a pretty decent trap tunnel. I'll run into it really quick. So they just come up here, get hit by a barrage of cannonballs, gas traps, some bonus timeout rooms up here. Sort of double-decker system, very cool. And this is kind of a recycling timeout system where these launchers hit him over here, voice crack, and floor launchers hit him onto that angled roof, which like pretty much bounces them forward and end up all the way back here. And then have to just go through here again. And then obviously if they want to make it through all this, which nothing should except for possible smashers, if we have smashers even on this wave. More floor launchers. I'm gonna put down the banner just because I'm fairly sure this is the last wave. I wasn't actually really paying close attention. I'll put these takers back in. Maybe I'll just put down the defender. Let her use up the rest of this durability. Yeah, she's still dead. And yeah, looks like the lobbers have found a new place to lob from. I want to go take a look. The problem is, whenever you walk down near the friendly trap tunnels, the mobs will end up targeting you and kind of messing with the elevator. This lobby is probably throwing me in this. So I'm gonna back up again. Thank you, defender. It is a little bit interesting because although the lobbers will do really unexpected stuff, like back up at him get spawned and just sort of lob at destroy random structures, the flingers won't, because the flingers do only want to throw at the actual amplifier, or at least very close to it. So until the structural damage lobbers can break enough structures such that the flingers have somewhere to fling from successfully, they'll just keep on walking into trap tunnels and beating them. So the weapon ran out, unfortunately. Do I have anything else low durability I can give her? Well, no. It's fine. I'll just leave her here as bait, I guess. Hard feelings. So actually that flinger looked like, he looked like he was about to try flinging, but I guess he realized he didn't have anywhere to fling to. And this flinger is experimenting with trying to get a different angle or a different path to come up here. This looks like a great opportunity, except that I was prepared for that. As you can see, he's just getting hit by these 45 and floor launchers. So joke's on you, buddy. Lobbers have managed to break through one ceiling tile here. Not really the end of the world, because nothing you can get this far. We can recklessly stand down here, see some of the action. This is actually kind of a safe place to be, at least in terms of the takers, because it makes them fly down into gas traps. Get them taken out pretty quickly. See if anything's made it into the double-decker timeout rooms yet. You can see I had durability of 39 out of 43. That actually, yeah, a few things have made it. That's cool. And lobbers are targeting me again, so I better back up just a little bit. And maybe I should actually back up quite a bit more. Looks like my base has been destroyed, so I'm going to replace that too. Let's destroy that straight away again, we'll see. So I guess there is a bit of work to do in terms of lobber screening in this one after pump. Got another taker. I'm about to do this myself. Or I could just lure it into the gas traps. That might actually be a little bit more strategic. Ready? There's a flinger obediently walked into the trap tunnels. And this is definitely one of the, I don't know if it's the most effective, but definitely my favorite way to use the cannonball traps is to have them going horizontally over a slope like this, because they obey physics to some extent, and they'll just bounce back and forth and go down, basically hitting a ton of mobs, especially if there's a huge crowd coming at once. Oops, I'm not doing so good at health, so let's anyway. And let's see, real quick, I'm going to show you my class setup. How do I do that? Here, pretty much the same as I've used previously. Supercharged traps, team perk, and the holy trinity is power modulation, lofty architecture, and mega base. And fully contained is also very useful. Frozen castle is good for, especially with such long trap tunnels. And I did swap out base MD for survivalist. If you don't know, base MD basically just heals you a certain amount at a certain rate whenever you're standing on structures connected to your base, and it is nice because it works for your whole team, and I assume your defenders too, but it heals you kind of slowly. And survivalist heals you every time you get an elimination, and obviously since we have these massive trap tunnels set up, we're just getting eliminations left and right, so we're healing at the maximum speed from that, which is pretty quick. Even within just in support, it doesn't make you invincible or anything, but heals you a lot quicker than base MD for sure, especially if you're soloing something like this. I recommend it. And I was kind of hoping we'd get attacked from this side, because there's kind of a weird quirk I've found where sometimes the spawn's normally up here, and sometimes the spawn is extended slightly down there. There's like one twister down here, and strangely enough, for whatever reason, instead of walking this fairly straight shot right to the amplifier, some of the mobs really like to go down through this tunnel, and it's one of the sort of strange AI behaviors that I don't entirely understand. I'd like to figure out why they do that. But yeah, some of them walk down there, and then also I put a floor launcher with a 45 up here to forcefully encourage more of them to go down here. And what they basically do is just walk in circles. So they like going over here, and they walk back. And then some of them like going over here, and then they go down here, and then they walk back. Over and over again. The blaster likes to come here and attack this structure. And except he does it standing on this tile, which is why I put another floor launcher. And then pitchers like to come here and kind of just chill for a second, and then they jump off here. Kind of chill for a second, and they loop around and walk up here. It's just strange Husk AI behavior. I don't know exactly what causes that, but it's pretty funny. And you can end up with a huge crowd of them down here taking up the mob cap, which means you have less stuff actually going through your trap tunnels, using up the durability. And looking up here, we're actually taking a little bit of damage now. So I'm going to put down a hover turret. So flingers have found a spot to throw some. It's like, wow, they've actually, the lobbers have taken out this entire lane of the trap tunnel, causing a little bit of chaos at the last second here. And that allows flingers to stand here and do their flinging things. Not very nice. But yeah, the lobbers were actually able to do, just from standing down here, to take out that entire lane of the trap tunnel. Roof, walls, floor, and everything. and give the flingers a place to work. So as you can see, their AI is confusing and seemingly illogical, but also seems to work out. So I guess you can't really hate on it if it's confusing, but it is pretty effective. If there was another like 2 minutes on that defense, they probably would have destroyed the amplifier. Anyways, I believe that's it for the video. I don't think there's anything else really to talk about. I'll probably make at least a couple of videos on the endurance mode whenever that comes out, especially if I can get a like significantly impressively long run. I don't know if it'll be truly infinite or if it'll be like Fortnite, which was sort of pseudo-infinite, where you could go up to like 2 or 2.5 hours or whatever it was before it ended, which was like infinite in the sense that 99.9% of players would never get to the end of it. But yeah, we'll see. And real quick, we can see what we got for loot here. Usually it's nothing particular, some mini llamas, XP, which is meaningless now. Probably the 3 elemental ward things. So I don't know if we even got the lightning one. I'm not really paying attention. Guess not. Didn't have a nature wave. And that's kind of nice. We get actually 150 V-Bucks for the reward for doing the 10th one instead of just 100. But there you go. Twine Peaks. All done.